In the 7th grade, I took this class that I can't even remember the name of. The name escapes me, like, I can't remember the name for anything. Like, I've been trying to think of the name for, like, probably, like, an hour now, and I really, for my life, cannot remember the name of this class. Like, I even went through the extent of, like, going on my old middle school page and looking at the classes just so I can find out what the name of the class was called, but I just can't remember. So I'm just gonna call the class technology class. So in 7th grade or 8th, can't remember. I think 8th grade. Okay, none of that matters. In middle school, I took a class called technology class, and basically, okay, so the teacher's name was Mr. Schultz. Mr. Schultz was he was a funny dude. All right, Mr. Schultz. Before every class, he would force everyone to watch Mythbusters. So yeah, before every class, we would watch an episode of Mythbusters. I never paid attention because in middle school I was pretty edgy. Like I just didn't do anything anyone asked me to do. Like if you wanted me to do something, then I probably wouldn't have done it. Like yeah, I don't know why I was that way. I think it's because like I used to dance in middle school, so like I was kind of like one of the cool kids, and you know, I was just like I don't gotta do anything. He would force everyone to watch Mythbusters, and I would just be like talking to my friends. But basically, like, the class was technology class, so there's like 4 or 5 different stations. There's this one station where like you cook hot dogs with tinfoil in the sun. There was another station called like plexiglass, and basically like you can write anything you want on a piece of glass and like keep it for yourself, make a necklace or whatever. There was only 2 stations that really mattered in this class. The Bloop station and the station where I stabbed a hole through my freaking hand. Now, let's talk about Bloop real quick. Alright, Bloop. Mr. Schultz, like, he was really passionate about this game called Bloop. Like, Bloop, it was dead center of the class, alright? In the fucking middle of the class. Like, all the other stations were around Bloop, but Bloop was just in the middle. Now you're probably asking, Chillwil, what the hell is Bloop? Bloop is this game that the teacher, Mr. Schultz, he would always try to force you to play Bloop. Like, no one wanted to go to the Bloop station. It was always empty, but he would always force it on you. He's like, yeah, Bloop. Like, when he was explaining the stations, like, the first day of class, it's like, yeah, alright, now this right here. Like, he was bored explaining all the other stations. But when he got to Bloop, his eyes lit up. I'm not joking, like, this man loved Bloop. Bloop. And he would always say it like that, Bloop. Like, Bloop. Like, bruh, like, stop, dude. Bloop was basically like, I never played Bloop, so I don't even know what kind of game it was. But when I, like, think back to Bloop, I imagine it like this game I used to play back in the day called Bounce Down. It was like you were like this weird like jelly bean, not jelly bean, what's a better candy? Dots. You were like a dots shaped character. And I don't know what the objective of Bloop was, but like whenever you ask Mr. Schultz, like, hey, Mr. Schultz, Bloop, like, how do I play Bloop again? He would get so fucking happy, like, oh yes, alright, now Bloop is a game, like, he would he would be so happy to explain Bloop to you, like, bruh, like, and also Mr. Schultz, like, he would always spit on you, like, whenever you get in trouble or, like, he would have to explain something to you, he'd get in your face, and he'd spit on you, like, alright, so, Bloop, like, alright, so, when you're making the plexiglass, just spit all over your face, like, I'm not even joking, like, this is not an exaggeration, this man used to spit everywhere. On a side note, like, I remember he had a picture of, like, his younger self on his desk, not even on his desk, like, on the glass window behind his desk, and, like, it was, like, a really cute picture, It was him dressed as a sailor. Like, apparently back in the day, he was a sailor. But, oh yeah, alright, Mr. Schultz, he looked maybe like 72 years old. Like, he was a pretty old guy, but he was really fucking tall. Like, he was probably like 6'4". That's my guess. Like, this man was tall. Yeah, on a side note, not even a side note, that entire rant was the side note. But yeah, alright, so let's go to the important station, the CO2 car station. Now, at the CO2 car station, that was the most popular station because you get to build your own car out of wood. It was awesome. And then at the end, you get to race that car. So you go into class and you work on building these cars, and it's awesome, dude. Like, you just build a car every class and then race them, and like, it's fucking awesome. So there's CO2 cars and there's Pinewood Derby cars. Now, Pinewood Derby cars are basically like for little kids. Like, with a Pinewood Derby car, you just kind of like line your car up on a slope and just drop it down and see what car is the fastest. But CO2 cars are a little different. Now, with CO2 cars, you actually put like an oxygen tank on the back of the car, and the oxygen tank will propel the car full speed. So I was looking up CO2 car racing videos on YouTube for this video, and basically, like, this video right here, like, this looks like my middle school. Like, I think that this is actually my school because our setup looked exactly like this. And when I look at other CO2 car racing videos, they're usually like in a gymnasium, and they usually have like a more hardcore setup. But my school did it exactly like this. This video was in 2009, so I was in like 5th grade going to 6th grade. So I wasn't at the school at the time, but I'm pretty damn sure that this is my school. Cause yeah, I mean, I can tell. But yeah, like, when you're building a CO2 car, you would have to like draw on like the side of a piece of wood and like cut the wood on like this machine. And now thinking back at that, like, that was extremely dangerous. Like, I could have literally like cut off a finger or something. Like, I'm pretty sure Mr. Schultz would like spectate you while you cut the wood on this machine. Like, it's just very dangerous. And then you would like sandpaper the car and whatever, and like spray paint the car, just do all this jazz to try to make your car look cool. So like, the whole point of the CO2 cars was to try to use science to make the lightest, fastest car possible without having the car being like too flimsy or like breakable or whatever. And actually, I still have the car that I made in 7th grade. So you guys are probably like, Chillwil, get to the point. How the hell did you stab a hole through your hand, man? Like, you've been rambling on about CO2 cars for like 5 minutes now. Okay, listen, I'm getting there. All this is very important. Okay, so when I was building my CO2 car, like, I was almost finished with my car. I just needed to put on the wheels. And yeah, that didn't go too well for me. I basically took my car to my next period because I believe I had technology class 6th period, and then I was going to my 7th period. 7th period, if you don't know, is like it's the last class of the day. So I noticed my wheels weren't like going in all the way, so I basically in class, like, I'm like pushing the wheels. I was trying to push the wheel in as hard as I could, and then the wheel popped. Like, the wheel oh my god, I'll show you. Wow. Alright, so this is the car that I made in the 7th grade, right here. Yeah, really old. I was in 2011, I was in the 7th grade, so I've had this car for a long time. I don't feel like doing quick math, but 7 years, is it? There we go. I've had this car for 7 years. It's just been like sitting on my dresser. That's why I still have it. I mean, there's no reason to throw it away. I mean, it's just chilling on my dresser. But basically, the way I stabbed a hole through my hand. All right, so if you look at the top of the car, you can see that there's like a gap of like metal bar, and that kind of annoyed me looking at that. So I thought that I needed to push the wheels in a bit closer, like, so that you wouldn't see the metal bar anymore. When I was in my 7th period, I was just let me see if I can show you. So basically, in 7th period, basically what I was doing was this. I was going like this as hard as I could. Like, like as hard as I could. I was like, trying to push the trying to push the bar. So I was just like, and you can imagine at some point, I think these are new wheels, but at some point, the little, the middle part burst open and it went through my hand. Now, it didn't go all the way through my hand, like through the back of my hand, but it definitely hit the back of my hand. So I was going like this, then bam, the fucking, hold on, I was pushing the wheels, you know, pushing the wheels, and then bam, through my hand, not all the way through my hand, so I didn't know how to react in class. Like, I just kind of looked up and started looking around because it didn't really hurt that much, you know. I didn't want to cry or anything. I was just like, wow, I just fucking did that. You know, there's blood leaking all over my pants, all over my hand. So I'm like, all right, I gotta say something. So I raised my hand and I'm like, Miss Hall, yeah, I stabbed a hole through my hand. And she's just like, wait, what? And then like the entire class starts looking at me like, what's going on? Like, is this guy going crazy? And I'm like, yeah, I stabbed a hole through my hand. I need to go to the nurse. Like, I said it just like that. Chill as fuck, just like that. I was like, yeah, there's a hole in my hand. I need to go to the nurse. But yeah, this is where you would keep the CO2 tank, by the way, like in this little component. As you can see, my car is supposed to be like a shark. These are supposed to be like the teeth right here, and this is supposed to say shark. So yeah, that was my creative idea. Anyways, since I stabbed a freaking hole through my hand, I got to go home from school that day, even though it was already the end of the day. Oh man. But I went to the doctor's, and basically the doctor was mad at me. Like, she was yelling at me. She was like, why did you take the metal bar out of your hand? You could have gotten an infection. And I'm like how was I supposed to know that? I'm in the 7th grade, woman. Even today, if I were to stab myself with a metal bar, I would take it out of my hand or wherever I stabbed myself. Like, come on. But she was just telling me, like, next time if this were to happen, to keep the metal bar in my hand until you got to the doctor's office. And I'm like, no. But yeah, that's basically how I stabbed a hole through my hand. You guys could probably tell that this video was super improvised. Like, I'm just kind of telling the story without a script. I'm doing it this way because I didn't know how to write a script for this video. Like, there were just too many plot points and it would have sounded unnatural, you know. And I feel like this story was like, you know, it was supposed to be natural. So tell me if you guys enjoyed the improvised style of this video. Like the video, definitely, and subscribe if you're new here. Trying to get to 200 subs. Follow me on Twitter, you know, all that jazz will be in the description. I love you all. Chillwil out.